What's up, everybody? I'm Joshua Dahl, screenwriter, director, and editor for all Boys at Home content. Now, as you can probably tell, this video is a little bit different from those that we normally do, and that's because this is a special video. It's addressing a short film that we just released today, and that's Homeschooler Apocalypse. Now, as you can probably tell from the thumbnail of this video, you're expecting some behind the scenes of Homeschooler Apocalypse, maybe some background footage, maybe some exposition from me explaining stuff that went on behind the camera. And while that is partly going to happen, the majority of this video is actually going to be explaining an issue that has arisen because of the video we just released today. And that specifically is the shootout scene in Homeschooler Apocalypse. Now, some of you are probably sitting there wondering, what's wrong with that? That was a great scene. And from a director standpoint, I do agree with you. That's likely one of the best sequences that Boys at Home has ever created anywhere. But there are also some of you, I'm sure, especially parents of children who watch this channel, that are going, hold on. Boys at Home said it wasn't doing any gritty stuff. It wasn't doing any nasty stuff. What is a shootout scene doing in Boys at Home? And so that's why this video is here. So right now I'm addressing Homeschooler Apocalypse, but I will ultimately be addressing all Boys at Home videos and shorts that have thus far had human-on-human gun violence. And so for a bit of background for Homeschooler Apocalypse, I originally wrote the script, this guy right here, in October of 2024. That's a long time ago, but that's how filming works. And so I originally wrote the script in October of 2024, and the original storyline for it was actually along the lines of our first short that we ever released. That's When Your Friends Turn Into Zombies. And so we would have some of the cast running around pretending they were zombies, and actually the story follows two of the cast who we don't know whether they're homeschooler or public schooler. We're presuming they're homeschooler, but we have them running from these zombies, and they encounter another boy in a shelter, and they three escape into a parking lot and leave. And eventually the third boy they meet gets captured by the zombies and presumably gets turned into one. But at the end of the story, it's kind of a twist ending, because it turns out, oh, what do you know, the zombies are actually homeschoolers, and the two protagonists we've been following the entire story are actually public schoolers. And so that twist of homeschoolers being the bad guy was something that I always wanted to have, because I thought it was a cool touch and it was a nice twist from what we normally do with these videos. And also there are people out there who really do think that homeschoolers are trying to take over the world. So I figured I'd kind of lean into them going, hey, you were right. Right. Anyway, so that was the story of the first one. And after a couple, I think it was about a month or two of sitting on it, I was like, you know, the whole idea of them being zombies, it just doesn't really sound realistic. And so I rewrote the script into this behemoth right here. And you can't really tell because you're not in person, but once you feel it, this is a total of 14 pages of script, an 11-page script and a 3-page shot list. And this is massive, because when you're filming with screenplays, something you always want to keep in mind is that each page of a screenplay is about a minute of runtime. And so an 11-minute script is an 11-minute video. And that's not necessarily bad. We've made 11-minute videos before, specifically with homeschooler detectives. But that we filmed on vacation, and it took us an entire week to film that. And part of that was actually filmed in the airport as we were leaving. This would be filmed in one day over a 4-hour period, which you might think, oh, that's plenty of time. No, it's not. It is not. Because especially not trying to get stressed about it and keep it fun for everyone, including me, 11 pages in 4 hours is just not feasible. Especially with a 3-page shot list, that's just ridiculous. I don't even know what I was thinking, but regardless, that's what I ended up with. And it wasn't until the actual film day that I realized I can't use this script. And I had no backup script at the time. And so I was like, I need to film something. And so we have Homeschooler Apocalypse, the video that we released today. Fun fact, that entire video was written and directed on set with absolutely no background to anything. I kept some of the core concepts from these two scripts, specifically that homeschoolers were the bad guys, and I wanted to have the twist ending at the end, and I wanted to have a constant buildup of tension at the beginning. We can see with the parallel action between the public schoolers carrying Ben along through the sidewalk or the back roads, and then the homeschoolers setting up for the trap of the public schoolers. That parallel action really brings tension together, and that's what I wanted with both scripts. But aside from those two main concepts, the entire thing was off the cuff. And so put yourself in my shoes for a second. You're the director and you have the biggest cast we've actually, up to right now, the filming of this video, we have never had a cast bigger than what we had when filming Homeschooler Apocalypse. And not only that, but we had props from everyone that they had brought. Those were all their guns and their bodywear, all that was theirs. And so I had a whole slew of props, a whole slew of guys, and now a script that I couldn't use and an entire video that I had to create on set That was very demoralizing to me because I had all these people awaiting what I wanted them to do, and I had no idea for them to do. And so I had to create this on the spot, and I knew what I wanted with the climax, and so I started doing the build-up. We filmed all the homeschooler scenes first, and then moved on to the public schooler. And when we came to the part where the homeschoolers are crossing over the log and they're getting into the range of the trap, I knew I had to break the climax somehow. You know, the tension is building, the music is rising, the parallel action is getting quicker until eventually we have the climax and it has to break. And I knew it couldn't break with the homeschoolers just going out and going, "Stick 'em up." That is, just imagine that for a second. That would be so underwhelming. And so I knew I couldn't do that. And so begrudgingly, I decided to just begin the shootout scene. And no, I did not want to do this because my brothers can attest, I am very opposed to any kind of violence in Boys at Home. And so while I didn't want to do the shootout, I did have to. And so the climax broke with that. But that doesn't mean that I didn't still have some say with my conscience in it. Hemi did not die even after being shot 400 billion times. That was something I wanted to keep in mind, that even as the viewers were watching, they knew Hemi was still alive, because I did not want to have someone die from that shootout, which seems very unrealistic, but after I was finished editing it, I was like, okay, it seems a little more believable now. So concerned parents and subscribers, that's why we did what we did. No, we're not entering a phase of violence or any other garbage, gory stuff like that. It's just what happens. And so what's our plan for the future is absolutely no more human-on-human violence, or gun violence rather, at all. And by that, I mean, we still may have gun props, we still may have gun sound effects, but no, those gun props will not be pointed and shot at other people. There will be no death, nothing at all to the extent of when homeschoolers break the rules, if you've ever seen that short. If not, go watch it. But nothing at all to that extent. I'd want to do this to reassure you that yes, we're still staying clean, we're still staying wholesome, and it's just what happened. We're figuring this out too. We've barely been doing this a year, and so we're figuring out what works, what doesn't. Please be forgiving of us when we mess up. Understand that we're growing, we're learning. And so ultimately, I hope that Homeschooler Apocalypse has not scared you away. I hope just from a cinematic perspective, you enjoy it, because again, it did turn out to be one of the best videos we've ever made, with the editing and just all of it spliced together. Turned out really, really well from a cinematic perspective. And so I pray you guys will stay subscribed to us through this. Trust me, we have a lot of other good content that we're going to share with you. And if you'll stick with us, you'll be able to enjoy it with us too. So with that, I will say boys out, and I will see you in the next video.
This is how it feels to have a Ford F-150. I'm sorry. No, okay. Oh yeah, this feels on. Don't really train him. Listen, I don't care what he's saying. We're not.
As a certified villain, it's my job to acknowledge you.